What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another trade recap video. So we're going to walk through all the trades today that netted me a profit of 2,700, 2,800, right in that area, depending on how one of my open positions goes right now. So we're going to walk through all the trades, trade a couple earnings reports, and yeah, let's get into it. All right, so one of the trades made today was on AMD. This was actually my last trade that I made. So if we look at the stock, right, we had a move up, move down, solid bounce all the way back up, almost to highs, and then we had a nice pullback here. A couple bullish candles getting bought up. So at this point, I thought we could kind of be into like a V cup and handle where we kind of press up and retest the highs. So I jump in long here on this candle, 2,000 shares at 40.05, pops up. As soon as I basically get in, if this play we're going to work out is pretty much going to work out instantly. And as soon as I get in, it kind of moves and then it gets all lackluster. At that point, I could feel that this normally, the setup that I was on, would normally go right away. It wasn't, so I could feel that it was probably not going to work. So I took it off, small loss of $78 there. Okay. Then I traded Etsy a couple times, got faked out once, jumped back in. Would have been a decently good trade. I just didn't take it off the way I should have and kind of, goofed it up, is what it is. So let me delete these drawings real quick. So again, I'll mark this all off. We have high of day, all right? And then we have same kind of scenario as AMD. We have this move down, kind of base, move up. We create a cup, and then we have in here a nice looking handle. And I initially jumped in too quick, jumped in too soon. The pattern wasn't developed enough. So I jumped in here, 500 shares on this candle, kind of rolls over, starts breaking the trend. At that point, you can't risk being wrong more than that. You'll get caught in a big down candle. So I took it off for like a small loss of, I want to say like 40, 50, maybe $60 or something like that on that trade. And then later, we kind of press up to do exactly what I think we're going to do, which is break out over high a day. So I go long 2,000 shares this time as the pattern's more developed, more clear, more structured. So I go in 2,000 shares at 40.94 just before the breakout. We press up pretty much instantly to 41.17. I was up like $400. Tried to take some off on the ask, didn't work. I added to the selling pressure, stock comes down. And so I initially thought we'd get this breakout and just pretty much get like two solid green candles up, right? So we press up, I start to try and take some off. It's hard to get out on the ask. Ultimately, I end up taking off the full position before we kind of go on this nice trending move. But again, like I said, I'm more of a momentum trader. So a lot of times when I get into a move, I have an expectation of what I'd like to see happen. And if it doesn't work the way that I'd like, or it's not moving the way I anticipate, right, then you get a little uncomfortable. And right, so I take the trade off. I end up going from red on the stock, maybe like $50-$60 to green on it, $66. So again, just a couple trades there, ultimately resulting in $66 profit. So not bad. All right, on to the next one, which is 5. This is one that I traded earlier in the day. Just kind of did like a tester trade, and we'll walk you through it. So I got short on this candle, right? We kind of pressed up, had a really big red candle down, big buy candle back up, then we're back down. So we're starting to press towards like the low of the day. And so in here, I mean, this is pretty much just a setup to have like kind of a breakdown short. So this could have very well turned into like a really nice breakdown candle. It didn't. I went short 300 shares, and there wasn't a ton of volume there. But as soon as I went short, did a market order. Many of you guys know I naturally will do a market order. So the price is up probably like 25.20. And I go to get short, and they fill me like 25 cents below where I really want to get short. So what happened was when I went short, instead of filling my order, the market makers moved the price and had transactions go in before mine to drop the price lower before filling my short. Again, people are like, well, if you do a market order, that's going to happen. Yes, it will happen sometimes. Most of the time, doesn't happen. Then they're like, well, why don't you do a limit order? It's like, if I wanted to do a limit order, get in on the ask, likely not going to happen. So if you want to get in a trade, a lot of times you're going to have to take the market maker, take a market order. But anyways, right? So price moves down, wasn't favoring me, so I took it off for a small loss of $30. Pretty straightforward there. And then you can see it never really turned into such a great play. It's more of a lackluster kind of movement on the day. And so resulting in a small loss of 30, and I'd rather not be in this trade all day with capital wrapped up in a stock that's moving like a piece of shit. So anyways, small loss, $30 there. Then I traded home a couple of times throughout the day. Some trades were good, some were decent, some were like meh, so we ended up making some money on it. Definitely gave back some though. Let's go over why I'm typing like an idiot. All right, here we go. So you can see a lot going on here on this chart. So let me take the trades off and kind of walk you through some of it first, and then we'll put some more drawings on here. So anyway, stock's down on the day. As soon as the stock opens up on the day, it gets this massive squeeze candle up. So it's like, well, to want to go short on the stock after seeing this and just crazy solid bullish candle doesn't really make you want to go. So a lot of times, on these earnings reports, early movers, the morning is where all the volatility is. So that's where you can expect these bigger price jumps and more volatility. So we had this monster rip candle. So at this point, you already know that the stock has the potential to have that crazy volatility. So I end up jumping in some trades here, kind of pops up, then I take it off for a small loss, and then it kind of forms up a little bit more here, and then I end up getting long. We make some money on this move, then ended up trading it later for a breakout here, made a little bit of money on that move, and then I ended up shorting it here and losing a good chunk of money. So I was up to a total of maybe like $390, $400 at one point on home today, resulting in only having $105 after all said and done. So we'll kind of walk through the trades as best we can. There's a lot going on. So first trade is this candle. All right, we have the big solid push up. We pull back. We kind of hang on all these candles, hang out here, a little bit of consolidation. Pretty much all buying pressure anyways. So I go long 2,000 shares, pushes up. We kind of struggle. We kind of go into this pullback, and I'm like, and in my head, I'm thinking about the last time I had traded a setup like this. It was on, what stock was it on? I want to say it was on FTCH. That sounds like the stock. Anyways, it was a very similar setup the last time I traded this setup, and I think I went 5,000 shares long on FTCH, and it had pretty much the identical pattern here. We had this red candle. It rolled over, just slammed on my 5,000 shares, and I took like an $800 loss like first thing in the morning. So yes, I didn't have as much size as that one example I was referring to on FTCH, but I was still in pretty decent size here with 2,000 shares. Pushes up, I was like, well, if we get that really nasty, candle down, then I'm going to be screwed. So I'm like, you know what? Let's just take it off. We'll take a tiny loss here, and, if it wants to form up more and give us more structure, then I can always re-long. So take the small loss and, reposition yourself. So that's what I do. You can see I take off the 2,000 shares, lose a little bit of money, and then you can see that, what happened here? Let's see. Oh, excuse me. So we push up 2,000 shares here. I hold through that pullback, and then as we press up again, looks like it's getting ready to break out. I add another 1,500 shares. So that's why I'm in 3,500 shares now, and I'm like, that's a pretty decent sized position. If I'm wrong, comes down, I'll get screwed. Let's take the small loss. So I take it, and then the next candle opens up, and we start to press up, and at this point, I really realize, okay, we're going to break out. So I could have avoided this whole trade just by waiting till this candle, but a lot of times I mention when you have the early morning volatility, sometimes these formations won't set up, and like right here, this candle will just rip right through and go on a monster squeeze. So that's what I was anticipating originally. After I get in the trade, I can see it's not going to do that. All right, and that makes you kind of question your initial entry and setup. But anyways, so I'm getting re-long here for kind of like a little pennant flag break. All right, so I get long 3,500 shares. As it presses up to here, I take off 5. So I get in long 3,500 at $5.35. I take off 500 shares at $5.49. Take off 2,000 shares at $5.45. Take off another 200 at $5.05. Take off another 200 at $5.47. Take off another 400 at $5.42, and then close out the last little bit of 200 shares at $5.37. And then later, our team is watching this. We're watching this. It's not breaking down on the day, so we're like, okay, if it's not breaking down, then this is probably going to turn into kind of like a new breakout. So let me kind of zoom in like this. So we have the high-a-day mark trending up. Pretty straightforward bullish pennant sort of breakout. So we get long 2,000 shares here, presses up. I start taking some off as we go into this hump, make a little bit of money. And then later I'm like, well, if we press up on the breakout, come all the way back down through the support, I would imagine this probably wants to go for like kind of a rolling over short. So I end up sizing in basically like 4,000 shares here short and get taken out on that pop. And I'm like, all right, it's not going to, if it wasn't going to do it then, it's not going to do it at all. And you can see since then it's pretty much just trended up. So ended up giving back a decent amount of money on that last trade, couple $100. So that's what resulted in me only having 105 on home today. But nonetheless, we traded it pretty good throughout the day and in the chat room. So a lot of people in our room were able to learn from this example and make some money on it while we were trading throughout the day. And that's always a great feeling. All right. So next one is Restoration Hardware. Definitely crushed this one on the day. This was an earnings report play. So still long on it right now, and that's why I was saying my P&L is probably going to fluctuate from like 1,700, 1,800, 1,900, depending on how well this performs throughout the day. So still long 25 shares, open P&L of 200, made $726 on it today. All right, so didn't catch this first move, right? And then it pushes up, and we kind of go through this consolidation, and it's pretty straightforward. It's like the same past couple trades we made, all bullish pennant sort of formations here, right? So we pull back, we have, so like, again, look at the move, right? So we have a very aggressive move up. Then we pull back. We have an extremely bullish big candle in there, right? We kind of press up again. We get hammered down, kind of consolidate, right? Then we get these really nice solid bullish candles back up. We have very tight consolidation right here. Pretty much no volume. So that tells you that there's not a whole lot of participation here, neither in the buying or the selling. But nonetheless, the stock is bullish trending up. And you have these resistance tops right in the middle. You can see like at now like 217, you got resistance, resistance, resistance. So you have this short-term resistance in here, which is going to be a dictating factor in the short time frame, like short term, whether the bulls or the bears are going to win over that short-term, play. So below this red dotted line in here, the one I'm hovering over, that is kind of like the halfway mark. I always describe it like football. That's the halfway mark. At least on our Restoration Hardware today, that red line I'm on is the halfway mark. Below it, essentially the bears are on offense, and above it, the bulls are on offense. So while we were below it, the bulls were battling the bears all the way back up to the 50-yard line, and the bulls were able to overtake and go onto the offensive when we got over this red line. So that's where I got long 300 shares. We pull back. We test that previous resistance level of support on 1-2 candles hold. Move higher, break through high a day, nice solid candle, a little bit bigger volume. Let me pull this up, you'll see it. All right, so you start to get some increased volume there. So I start to sell 25 shares at 220.40, sell another 50 shares at 220, sell 150 shares at 219.51, sell 50 shares at 220.58. And then since then, I've been holding 25 shares. So from entry, which was 217.98, so basically 218 all the way to 227. So what did I say? 218 to 227. So that's 718. So in total, this trade we've made $9 per share on. If you want to look at percentage gain all the way to the top, it's about 4.6% on that trade. Not all together, of course, with the shares, but all in general, up about 4.6, 4.7% on that trade. So good trade, up $200 right now, total P&L 738. All right, traded work today, lost on it, was right, just wrong timing, story of my life. So let's go over to work. So I took a short trade, 1,000 shares, look at it. Took the short here, covered here, boom, down. So I was right on the direction, just a little bit wrong on the timing. And the setup was actually really good. I mean, this is typically a setup that would have broke down. So we trail down, we have this candle up, push down, lackluster bounce, push back down again. Really thought we'd just break down and have a nice beet red kind of candle and move like this and then into that. We kind of squeeze up, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to risk getting squeezed and just losing a bunch of money. So I take a $159 loss. If I would have waited a little bit more, sure, didn't take the trade off, then you would have been right. Hindsight 2020 story of my life. Okay, but anyways, so we take a small loss there doing a short trade, $159. Big winner on the day today was Sage. This actually, I'll walk you through all the trades on it, but not saying I should have, but I should have / could have had a really crazy day winner on this. I already did. I think I won like $2,000 or something. Let's see. If I could ever type correctly, that'd be great. Sure. There we go. Damn it. Yeah, so I made $2,100 on this today. Let me pull this down. We'll take the trades off, explain it a little bit. So if you're not familiar, this is Sage. Not the stuff that you cleanse your house with to clean out the demons, but it's a stock, and it dropped from 150 today all the way down to 50. So it basically dropped 100 points in the day. If anything drops 100 points in the day, it definitely has potential to have some crazy movement because, I mean, it just dropped $100. So there's a lot of range that could probably trade on the day. Whereas if like a stock dropped 5 cents on the day, that's not a big range, so you couldn't expect that it's going to move like $25 in the day. But something that drops $100 in a day could very well move $20, $30 in a day. So early in the morning on our pre-market watches on YouTube, we didn't really see this as a potential trader that would make really great moves. We knew it could, but anyways. So let's get into it, put the trades on. So initially, in the day, I thought I had enough money in my account to afford 1,500 shares. And why does this look so shitty the way it is? I don't know, but it's like I want to make it bigger like that, but then it always gets weird. You take the news off, but don't need that. Maybe if I pull this to the side, go like that. I don't know. It's all funky. But anyways, so first trade here on the day. God, this just looks like shit. Let me just do something. See if this helps. Jesus. Come on. There you go. All right. It's just the gap down so big. But anyways, basically as soon as the market opened, I could tell this was probably going to squeeze. And it was on one of my side monitors. And I thought I had enough money in my account to buy 1,500 shares. So I really went to buy like 1,500 shares, probably down at about like 57, 58, right? And I click buy, and then it's like, oh, you don't have enough money. And then it just spikes up from like 57, 58, all the way to like 61. So my first trade would have been like a $3,000 trade. But again, anyways, it would have been like a $3,000 trade, but it didn't happen, right? It didn't happen. Nonetheless, it didn't happen. But I could still feel I could still feel the momentum was going to push up. So by the time that move happened, I went to my order window, reduced it from 1,500 shares to 1,000. I popped in here at 61. So basically popped in 1,000 shares at 62 and sold 1,000 shares at 63 almost. So $900 trade there. And then we kind of had like this, again, little bullish pennant flagging pattern. So I ended up trading this 1,000 shares. So I pop in 61.97. Pops up to 62.54. I sell 600 shares, gets up to 62.95. I sell 300 shares. We get up to 65.43. I sell 50 shares, and I sell another 50 shares here at 64.02. Later in the day, this was a head and shoulders pattern, so I'll draw it out for you here. Left shoulder, head, right. Wait, hold on. Right shoulder, resistance, down. I could tell this is probably going to turn into a short. So I got short in this candle, 500 shares at 64.40, covered up 100 shares at 63.99, covered up 300 shares at 63.62, and another 100 shares at 63.82, resulting in another winning trade there. Give me up to a total of $2,193 there on Sage. And since the trades are up, it's kind of hard for you to see the head and shoulders, but I'll explain it. All right, so you have a move up, it creates a top, and then you pull back, and then you push up, create a new high in the day. Then you pull all the way back down pretty much evenly to your previous armpit. That's what we call the armpit, or some people call it the neckline, which in reality makes absolutely no sense, and I could explain that too. So really this should be called the armpit, not the neckline. The whole industry calls it the neckline, but that's just because they're pretty much all idiots and don't know what a human body looks like apparently. So this would be the armpit, not the neckline. Okay. And anyways, so head and shoulders up, creates a peak, pulls back, puts in a new top, which is a head, then pulls back almost evenly to your previous armpit. And then you go up, you create your right shoulder top, which should be pretty much even to your left shoulder top, which should be resistance. So you start shorting into that, expecting it to break down this line, which people call the neckline, but in reality, it's more like your armpit, if you ask me. So expecting it's going to break down. So anyways, there was a short play there. So those are all the trades in the day, netting us about right now I'm at $2,836 with the open trade on Restoration Hardware. So nonetheless, really solid day. Can't complain. So that's we're pretty much running on almost 2.5 months, almost green every single day. We've had a couple reds in there, but primarily for the past maybe 2.5 months, maybe, we've been pretty much green almost every day. So really happy about that. There was, I don't know. There was a couple months back where I was taking a bunch of losses and it was just like kind of in this mental rut and couldn't figure it out. And then just woke up one day and said, why don't you just stop sucking ass at your job and get your shit together? And so I did. And now we're running 2.5 months almost green every day. So sometimes it takes an ass beating to whip yourself back into shape, and tell yourself that you're human and you still make mistakes. And anyway, so here we are a couple months later, rocking and rolling the green days. So really happy about it. Appreciate you guys tuning in and learning from these videos. As always make sure to do your part, which is hit the thumbs up. And then that's basically all I have for you. And other than that, everybody take care. Have a great day. And if you always want to join into our private trading group, join us with us on these trades live, learn from us, and take our weekly classes, feel free to do so. Link is in the description of this video. Takes you to our website. Everybody have a good day, and I'll see you on the next one.